Hello, and welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take, well, a whole mountain of information and boil it down into those really insightful nuggets you need, to feel properly informed and confident. You've sent us a fantastic stack of material today, all about mastering one of the most vibrant and, let's say, nuanced aspects of English, idioms.
That's right.
So this is our deep dive into using idioms in advanced conversation.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to move beyond just the basic definitions. We want to truly explore what idioms represent.
Okay.
Why they're not just phrases, but actually powerful tools, essential, I'd argue, for genuinely advanced conversation.
Right, more than just vocabulary.
Absolutely. We'll unpack how you can weave them into your speech, how you can sound not just, correct, but remarkably natural, persuasive even, and culturally aware. It's about transforming your communication, fundamentally, letting your words resonate and connect with others, on a deeper level.
So if you're ready to take your English from, let's say, proficient to truly expressive, or maybe you just want to decode those colorful phrases that native speakers seem to use so effortlessly.
Yeah, they can be puzzling sometimes.
They really can. Well, let's unpack this. We'll cover why idioms are essentially your conversation superpower. We'll explore a curated selection of examples looking at different contexts, focusing on those subtle nuances.
Yes, the nuances are key.
And most importantly, we'll give you practical, actionable strategies for using them with, well, real finesse.
Getting it right.
Exactly. Get ready to add some serious sparkle to your spoken English. Okay, so to kick things off, maybe we should establish a foundational understanding first. What exactly are idioms, like at their core?
Right.
And why should someone who's already at an advanced level of English really, invest time in mastering them? It feels like they're a step beyond just grammar and vocab lists.
Yeah.
Almost like, as you said before we started, a secret handshake of the language.
That's a fantastic way to put it. A secret handshake. I like that. Fundamentally, idioms are phrases where the meaning just cannot be deduced from the literal definitions of the words themselves.
Okay.
Think of the classic raining cats and dogs, for instance.
Right.
You're not actually expecting furry creatures to, plummet from the sky. That would be quite something.
Definitely memorable.
Yes. It simply signifies a very, very heavy downpour. And this non-literal quality, that's what makes them so unique and frankly, so challenging, but also incredibly rewarding to get right. They sort of operate on a different plane of meaning, often telling a mini story or evoking a really vivid image that, well, it transcends the sum of its parts. They're like cognitive shortcuts, I suppose, packed with meaning. Cognitive
shortcuts. I like that. That's a brilliant description.
Yeah.
It immediately highlights how quirky and unexpected these phrases can be.
Yeah.
You really can't just parse them word by word, can you?
No, you can't.
But beyond just being quirky, why are they such a big deal for someone aiming for true fluency? Is it about more than just, understanding the phrase when you hear it?
Oh, without a doubt. It's significantly more than that. Idioms are, you could call them cultural algorithms. They're often deeply rooted in history, folklore, unique traditions.
Right.
Think of them as linguistic fossils almost. They carry echoes of past eras and societal norms.
Wow.
So when you use an idiom like, say, bite the bullet, you're not just conveying courage, you're actually referencing a kind of collective historical understanding of enduring hardship.
Wow.
So this isn't just about vocabulary, it's about invoking a shared experience, a shared cultural memory. Mastering them is really a hallmark of truly fluent speech. It acts as this crucial bridge between sounding merely correct and sounding genuinely native. This is where the magic happens for advanced learners, because this is where you start to truly feel the language, rather than just analyze it from the outside.
Right.
It's the difference between, say, navigating a city just by following the street signs and knowing the shortcuts, the hidden gems, the best places to, catch the local vibe.
So it's about a deeper immersion then, tapping into the kind of collective subconscious of the language. That sounds incredibly powerful.
It is.
So what are the tangible benefits? What do you actually gain by adding these cultural algorithms, as you put it, to your linguistic toolkit? What makes them so impactful in real conversations?
Well, there are several really compelling reasons that make idioms just invaluable for advanced speakers. First, and this is a big one, they make you incredibly relatable.
Relatable, okay.
Yeah. Using idioms signals that you get the culture. It fosters this instant connection or rapport with a native speaker.
Right, that handshake again.
Exactly, that secret handshake. It says, I understand the unspoken rules, the underlying currents of this conversation. And this can be incredibly powerful for building trust and familiarity.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whether it's in a casual chat, a professional negotiation, or simply fitting in with a new group of friends, you're speaking not just their words, but their world in a way.
That instant connection sounds incredibly valuable. It's like stepping into a conversation and already being kind of on the inside track.
Precisely. Secondly, idioms are remarkably expressive. Think about the difference between saying, I'm tired and I'm wiped out.
Big difference.
Right. While both convey fatigue, wiped out injects this sense of utter exhaustion, a vividness that tired just lacks.
Yeah.
Idioms inject emotion, flair, making your words far more memorable, more impactful. They paint a picture in the listener's mind. They let you convey nuances of feeling joy, frustration, sarcasm, resignation with, distinct personality. They add this layer of texture to your communication that you just can't quite achieve with purely literal language. They make your stories more compelling.
So they don't just communicate facts, they communicate feelings, atmosphere, which is so vital in real-world conversations. It's like switching from a blueprint to a full-color painting.
That's a great analogy, yes. Thirdly, they're exceptionally efficient.
Efficient. How so?
Well, an idiom can convey a really complex idea in just a few words. It saves you time, makes your speech more dynamic.
Okay.
So rather than saying, I'm going to begin this project quickly and without delay, and I intend to be immediately productive, which is quite a mouthful.
Yeah, a bit formal too.
Right. You can simply say, I'll hit the ground running.
Ah, okay. Much snappier.
Exactly. It's concise, impactful, easily remembered. It saves time, makes your communication less cumbersome. And this conciseness is particularly valuable in, say, professional settings or fast-paced conversations where every word counts, allows for a quicker exchange of complex ideas.
That's a significant advantage, especially when time is tight. It's like using a shortcut key on your keyboard instead of clicking through menus.
Good one, yeah. And finally, number 4. Idioms signify mastery.
Mastery, okay.
When you effortlessly, naturally drop an idiom into conversation, it demonstrates you've moved beyond just textbook English. It shows you have a nuanced understanding of the language. It's a clear signal of advanced proficiency. It shows you've not only learned the rules, but you've also absorbed the spirit of the language.
Right.
And this isn't about rote memorization, it's about integration, about using these phrases as naturally as you breathe. This boosts your own confidence too, and it tends to earn respect from native speakers.
It's like graduating from playing scales to actually improvising a solo.
Exactly. From individual notes to full melodies. That's it.
So it's about more than just knowing words. It's understanding the cultural tapestry woven into the language. It truly sounds like they are the mark of a seasoned speaker.
Yeah.
But are there challenges, pitfalls to be mindful of? It seems like getting them wrong could be, a bit awkward, or maybe worse.
Definitely. Oh, yes. Misusing an idiom can absolutely lead to confusion. Or perhaps even worse, make you sound as if you're trying too hard to impress, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of natural communication.
Right. You want to sound natural, not like you're showing off.
Precisely. Imagine using an idiom that suggests humor in a really serious situation, or maybe one that's totally outdated or regionally specific to the wrong audience. The goal is natural integration, not forced performance or some kind of linguistic stumble.
Yeah.
The effect can be jarring, even alienating if you get it really wrong. We'll definitely delve into how to avoid those blunders, how to navigate the tricky waters of idiom usage later on. #tag idioms as a conversation superpower. So let's dig a bit deeper into how idioms aren't just, nice linguistic extras, but actually really powerful tools. Tools to connect, persuade, even entertain in advanced conversations. They empower your communication by giving it depth, color, and that sense of shared understanding. Almost like a hidden lever you can pull on the conversation.
That idea of the hidden lever is really compelling. It sounds like they go beyond just language and tap into something more profound about human interaction. How do they help us build connections specifically at that deeper level you mentioned?
Well, consider this. When you use a phrase like, say, let's touch base later in a professional setting.
Common one.
Very common. You're not merely scheduling a follow-up, are you? You're actually signaling your understanding of common workplace communication norms, those unspoken codes of corporate interaction.
Right, you sound like you belong.
Exactly. Idioms serve as that cultural handshake, showing you're in sync with native speakers. This creates an immediate sense of rapport, of familiarity. They foster a sense of belonging, whether you're engaging in casual banter with friends, sharing a joke, or navigating a complex negotiation where trust and shared understanding are absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
You're speaking not just their words, but their world, and that builds genuine bridges.
That makes absolute sense. It's about shared understanding, community, which truly builds those bridges between people. Now, how do they add that color and emotion you talked about to what might otherwise be, plain language, making communication more memorable? What's maybe the psychological impact on the listener?
Well, literal language can often be quite dry, can't it? Straightforward, sometimes a bit bland.
Sure.
While saying, "I'm very happy," gets the message across. Saying, "I am over the moon," conjures this far more vivid image, an almost childlike sense of boundless joy.
Yeah, much stronger feeling.
Right. And the psychological impact is that it creates an immediate emotional resonance. Idioms let you express this wide range of emotions: joy, frustration, sarcasm, resignation, with distinct personality. It makes your words resonate more, stick with your audience. They paint that mental picture, giving your listener something tangible to connect with. Makes your stories more compelling, your expressions more impactful. It's that difference, again, between a black and white photo and a vibrant, full-color painting that really evokes a feeling.
And you mentioned efficiency earlier, that they act as linguistic shortcuts. How do they actually streamline communication in practical terms, especially in, say, busy, fast-paced environments where every second seems to count?
Well, think of idioms as these highly effective shortcuts, condensed packages of meaning that really deliver a punch.
Okay.
So rather than that long phrase, "I am going to begin this project quickly and without delay, and I intend to be immediately productive."
Right.
To say, "I'll hit the ground running." It's concise, impactful, easily remembered, saves time, makes your communication more dynamic, less cumbersome.
Yeah.
And this conciseness is particularly valuable in professional settings or fast-paced chats where every word counts. It allows for a quicker exchange of complex ideas, keeps the dialogue flowing smoothly without unnecessary wordiness.
Yeah.
And crucially, it can make you sound more decisive, more prepared.
That's a significant advantage, yeah. Especially when you need to get a lot across quickly. And finally, how do they truly signal fluency and boost confidence for the learner, helping them break through that common plateau many advanced speakers seem to hit?
Right, that plateau is real. Many advanced learners reach a point where their English is grammatically perfect, their vocabulary is huge, but their speech still lacks a certain natural flow, that native cadence. Idioms are often the key to breaking through that barrier. When you can casually, naturally interject phrases like "spill the beans" when discussing a secret, or maybe "bite the bullet" when facing a tough decision, it demonstrates a mastery of the nuanced expressions in English.
Okay.
And this isn't just about knowing what the words mean, but understanding when and how to use them appropriately, with the right tone.
Right, the context.
Exactly. This not only shows a deep cultural understanding to native speakers, but it also significantly bolsters your own confidence in your abilities. It lets you participate in conversations with greater ease, more authenticity. It's like, back to our music analogy, graduating from playing individual notes to composing full melodies with real flair.
Okay, now for the fun part. We've talked about the immense power of idioms, but how do you actually build that linguistic arsenal? It can seem overwhelming.
It can, yes.
Well, our research showed that learners often find it easiest when they categorize things. Makes it more manageable.
That makes sense, chunking the information.
Right. So let's dive into some common categories. And we'll focus on the subtle nuances, the common pitfalls, rather than just, rattling off definitions. This should help you select the perfect idiom for the perfect moment.
Absolutely. We've picked out a few key idioms for each category that, well, they often trip up even advanced learners, maybe because of their nuanced usage or regional variations.
Okay.
We'll look at everyday phrases, professional idioms for work, expressions for emotions, social situations, and even idioms for conflict and success. And for each, we'll recap the meaning briefly, show it in use, but then spend more time on common mistakes, subtle differences, or maybe fascinating insights that will help you really master its application.
Okay, first up, everyday idioms. These are kind of the bread and butter of conversational English, aren't they? Useful in everything from casual chats with friends to maybe semi-formal emails. They're the staple idioms you'll hear all the time and probably want to use regularly. But even these simple ones have hidden depths, right?
They really do. These are your conversational workhorses. Let's take spill the beans.
Okay, classic.
Meaning to reveal a secret or private information, often accidentally or maybe prematurely.
Right.
Example, come on, spill the beans. Did you ask her out, or are you going to keep me in suspense forever?
Ah, yeah, very natural.
Now, the nuance and pitfall here, while its origin might be linked to ancient Greek voting beans, its modern use is strictly informal, really informal.
Okay.
A common mistake for advanced learners is trying to use it in overly formal contexts. Imagine, say, a junior analyst saying to their CEO, could you spill the beans on the quarterly results?
Ooh, yeah. Cringe.
Exactly. It would sound completely out of place, maybe even disrespectful, even if the meaning is technically understood. So save this one for playful or casual contexts. Friends, close colleagues you have a rapport with.
Got it. Keep it casual. Next,
How about bite the bullet?
another common one.
Meaning, to face a difficult or unpleasant task directly, with courage, often one that's unavoidable, and importantly, without complaining. Example, I wasn't thrilled about the all-day training session, honestly, but I just bit the bullet and focused on learning everything I could. The nuance here is about resilience and determination. Its origin is pretty grim, soldiers, apparently literally biting lead bullets during surgery without anesthesia.
Wow.
Yeah. It gives it this strong sense of enduring pain or discomfort for an unavoidable outcome. So use it when you want to express a mature acceptance of a tough situation, a willingness to push through. It's less about simple bravery, maybe, and more about stoic endurance.
That's a useful distinction. Okay, one more everyday one.
Let's do under the weather.
Ah, yes. Hear this a lot.
Meaning simply feeling unwell or slightly sick.
Right.
Example, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, so I think I'll pass on the movie night and just rest up at home.
Okay.
The subtlety here. It's a polite, gentle, and very, very common way to excuse yourself or explain a slight dip in energy without oversharing. You don't need to list your symptoms.
Right, keeps it brief and polite.
Exactly. It's less dramatic than saying, I'm sick, and it offers this universally accepted, understated way to indicate you're not quite at your best. The maritime origin sailors going below deck to escape bad weather is interesting, but the practical application is all about polite social navigation.
Those three alone show how much social and emotional weight even simple idioms carry. And there are loads more in this everyday category, right? Things like piece of cake.
Right, meaning an easy task.
Wow.
That presentation was a piece of cake after all that prep.
Or break the ice.
Or starting a conversation. A quick, funny story really helped break the ice at that awkward networking event.
Yeah, these everyday phrases are really all about adding that naturalness to your daily interactions, making things flow a bit smoother.
That's exactly. Hashtag had work in professional idioms.
Okay, moving into the workplace. These next idioms will help you sound well, polished, proactive, and truly fluent in professional settings. Whether you're in a meeting, drafting an email, maybe even navigating a job interview. They add a kind of sophisticated and efficient touch to business communication.
Yes, these are excellent for workplace dynamics. They can really make you sound like a true insider. Let's start with get the ball rolling,
Right.
meaning to start something, initiate an activity, project, or process.
No.
Example. All right, team, let's get the ball rolling on this new marketing campaign immediately to capitalize on the holiday season.
Sounds proactive.
Exactly. The nuance here, stemming from sports, is it conveys enthusiasm and a proactive stance. It's perfect for signaling that move from discussion to implementation. An advanced learner might use it strategically to show leadership or initiative, subtly pushing a project forward. It sounds much more dynamic than just saying, let's start.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about think outside the box? Hear that one a lot.
Oh yes, a modern classic, maybe overused sometimes, but still important, meaning to think creatively, unconventionally, or from a new perspective, often to find innovative solutions. Example, we're facing a really tough challenge here, so we really need to think outside the box to come up with truly innovative solutions for our clients.
Right.
The application and psychology here, this phrase encourages brainstorming, signals a desire for fresh approaches. Its origin is apparently a famous 9-dot puzzle where you have to draw lines beyond the perceived boundaries of the dots.
Ah,
So for an advanced speaker, using this idiom doesn't just ask for creativity. It suggests a mindset of challenging assumptions, breaking traditional mental models, positions you as a forward thinker.
interesting origin. Okay, another key work one.
How about on the same page?
Crucial for teamwork.
Absolutely. Meaning to be in agreement or have a shared understanding about a situation, plan, or objective. Example. Before we proceed with the next phase, can we just confirm that we are all on the same page regarding the project's objectives and the timeline?
Yeah, good check-in phrase.
Exactly. Its strategic use is ideal for confirming alignment, consensus, mutual understanding within teams, partnerships, during negotiations. It's a quick, professional way to ensure everyone's working from the same info and goals. Prevents miscommunication down the line.
Right.
It's not just about knowing the facts, but about the shared interpretation of those facts.
That's a great point. And for work, you also hear things like, back to the drawing board, right?
Yeah.
If a plan fails.
Yes, exactly. Our first strategy didn't work, so it's back to the drawing board for us, meaning start over,
Or call the shots.
meaning to make the important decisions. In this startup, the founders are the ones who call the shots.
And maybe raise the bar.
Signifies setting higher standards for performance or quality. This year, we need to raise the bar on customer satisfaction. These are all incredibly versatile in almost any professional environment.
Definitely useful tools for the workplace toolkit. Okay, let's talk about emotions. These vivid idioms allow you to express a whole spectrum of feelings with, well, engaging imagery. They add depth and personality to how you convey feelings, from pure joy to profound frustration.
Yes, these are truly powerful for connecting on an emotional level. Often, they convey much more than a single adjective ever could. Let's take down in the dumps.
Okay, sounds descriptive.
Meaning feeling sad, depressed, or unhappy, often for a period of time, maybe not intensely, but noticeably glum.
Right.
Example. I've been feeling a bit down in the dumps since my favorite sports team lost the championship game last night.
Relatable.
Very. Now, the nuance in social context, this idiom is quite informal. Really best used with close friends or family to share feelings. It implies a low, glum mood without being overly dramatic. It's a relatable way to express sadness without necessarily implying deep clinical depression. Probably avoid it in highly formal situations where, professional emotional control is expected.
Good tip. How about the opposite? Extreme happiness.
For that, you could use on top of the world.
Okay.
Meaning extremely happy, exhilarated, feeling fantastic, a sense of ultimate elation.
Right.
Example, after getting the news of her acceptance into medical school, she felt completely on top of the world, just beaming.
Nice. How does it compare to, say, over the moon?
Good question. While over the moon also means very happy, on top of the world often implies more of a sense of achievement, triumph, or maybe a peak experience.
Huh?
You feel a sort of conquering joy as if nothing could bring you down. It's perfect for conveying intense happiness linked to significant personal victories or achievements.
That makes sense. Okay, what about frustration? When you're just had enough.
For that feeling, at wit's end is perfect.
At wit's end.
Meaning extremely frustrated, exasperated, or at the absolute limit of one's mental resources, having exhausted all options or patience.
Right.
Example, I'm at my wit's end with this recurring computer error. I just can't fix it no matter what I try, and the deadline is looming.
Oh, I've been there.
Haven't we all? The impact here. This idiom powerfully conveys a strong sense of exasperation, feeling overwhelmed without necessarily being rude or overly dramatic. It signifies that point of mental exhaustion where you've tried everything and are just desperate for a solution. Really effectively communicates a deep level of frustration.
Definitely paints a picture. And there are others too, right? Like butterflies in your stomach.
Yes, for feeling nervous excitement. I had butterflies in my stomach before my big presentation.
Or cold feet.
Meaning hesitation or fear about doing something important, often a commitment. He got cold feet about the wedding at the last minute and almost called it off.
Wow. Yeah, these all provide such a rich tapestry for expressing emotions in a way that's really engaging.
They absolutely do. All right, let's shift to social settings. These idioms are ideal for casual interactions, parties, everyday chats with friends. They lend a very authentic, relaxed, and personable air to informal communication.
Yeah, they definitely add that touch of authenticity and familiarity to informal chats. Make you sound like, a genuine member of the group, someone who's truly comfortable in a social setting.
Absolutely. They're all about comfortable interaction. Let's look at shoot the breeze.
Okay, sounds relaxed.
Meaning to chat casually and idly without a specific purpose or serious topic, just engaging in light, relaxed conversation. Example, we spent the whole afternoon just shooting the breeze over coffee, discussing nothing important really, just enjoying each other's company.
Nice.
The context and connotation here. This idiom perfectly describes those relaxed, informal conversations, often with friends or acquaintances where the goal is simply connection, not deep discussion or problem solving.
Right.
It implies a pleasant, unpressured exchange, and using it conveys that you value that kind of casual connection.
Makes sense. What about just generally spending time together?
For that, the classic is hangout.
Ubiquitous.
Totally, meaning to spend time together, often informally and without a strict plan or agenda. Example, do you want to hang out this weekend? Maybe see a movie or just grab some food?
Yeah, standard invitation.
Exactly. It's the quintessential casual invitation for friends to socialize. Implies a relaxed, enjoyable time without pressure. A staple of modern informal interaction. Mastering this makes your invitation sound natural and inviting.
Definitely. And what about when you first meet people, maybe things are a bit awkward?
Then you need to break the ice.
Right.
Meaning to initiate conversation or social interaction in an awkward, tense, or quiet setting to make people feel more comfortable and relaxed. Example, a quick funny joke at the beginning of the meeting really helped break the ice among the new team members who were all a bit quiet initially.
Yeah, useful skill.
Very. The strategic application. This idiom, rooted in ships breaking through ice to clear a path, it symbolizes removing barriers to communication. For an advanced learner, it's a valuable phrase to describe actions taken to warm up a stiff or quiet crowd, particularly in new social groups or professional gatherings. It shows you understand the dynamics of group comfort.
That's a good way to think about it. And in social contexts, you also hear things like, get the party started right.
Yep, meaning begin the fun. Let's get the party started with some upbeat music.
Or hit it off.
Meaning to connect well with someone very quickly. We met at the networking event and really hit it off, shared so many common interests.
Yeah. These idioms really capture the essence of informal interaction, don't they?
They absolutely do. They make it feel real. Hashtag, tag, idioms for conflict and resolution.
Okay, moving to potentially trickier territory, conflict. These idioms can be incredibly useful for navigating arguments or tense situations with, greater tact, clarity, and often a path towards resolution. They help you express complex relational dynamics with more precision.
They're absolutely essential, I think, for managing interpersonal challenges and ensuring productive communication during disagreements. Let's start with the positive one. Bury the hatchet.
Okay, so like making peace.
Exactly, meaning to make peace, to end a disagreement, feud, or conflict, and reconcile.
Right.
Example, after our long and intense discussion, we decided it was finally time to bury the hatchet and move forward as colleagues.
Good outcome.
Hopefully. The cultural origin and impact. This one apparently comes from Native American peace ceremonies, where weapons, including hatchets, were literally buried as a symbolic gesture of ending hostilities.
Wow, really?
So they say, using it signals a willingness to forgive and move on, emphasizing a desire for lasting peace after a conflict. It's quite a powerful statement of resolution.
Definitely. What about when someone isn't being direct in a conflict?
Then they might be beating around the bush.
Okay.
Meaning, to avoid coming directly to the main point or topic, to speak vaguely or hesitantly, often due to discomfort or trying to avoid confrontation. Example, look, stop beating around the bush. Just tell me what the real problem is so we can actually address it and find a solution.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to be direct.
You do, and this idiom is perfect for gently encouraging someone to be more direct and clear, especially when you suspect they're avoiding an uncomfortable truth. It's hunting origin beaters avoiding the bush to flesh out game, vividly illustrates that indirect approach. It's a polite but firm way to ask for clarity.
That's useful. Okay, how about resolving tension? Getting things out in the open.
For that, you'd want to clear the air.
Clear the air, okay.
Meaning, to resolve tension, misunderstandings, or disagreements, often through open, honest discussion and communication. Getting rid of that bad atmosphere. Example, we had an honest, frank conversation to clear the air after our argument, and honestly, it felt much better to get everything out in the open.
Yeah, it usually does.
Right. The benefit of using this: it describes productive conflict resolution that leads to a more positive, less tense atmosphere. It suggests a necessary conversation for emotional well-being and improved relationships. It implies that the unspoken issues are causing a kind of stifling atmosphere that needs to be dispelled.
Makes sense. And there are others for conflict too, like add fuel to the fire.
Right, meaning to worsen a conflict. His angry response only added fuel to the fire, making things much worse.
Or draw a line in the sand.
Meaning to set a firm boundary. I had to draw a line in the sand about working weekends. My family time is just too important.
Yeah, these give you a powerful vocabulary for navigating those tricky social and professional situations involving disagreement.
Definitely. Very useful tools. #, idioms for success and failure. Okay, final category, success and failure. These idioms are fantastic for celebrating victories or, conversely, softening the impact of setbacks. They allow you to articulate triumph and defeat with, a more nuanced expression.
Right. It's all about framing those high and low moments with the right linguistic touch, making your storytelling about outcomes much more engaging, less dry.
Precisely. They add depth to your narrative of outcomes. Let's start with the positive one. On a roll.
Okay, sounds like momentum.
Exactly. Meaning, experiencing a period of repeated success, good fortune, or high performance. Things are just going well consistently. Example, I've been on a roll with my sales targets this quarter. Honestly, every deal seems to close easily and quickly.
Nice feeling.
The best. The usage here, this idiom, likely originating from gambling or games involving rolling dice, perfectly conveys momentum and positive streaks. Use it to share positive performance with enthusiasm, whether in business, sports, personal achievements, projects, confidence, and positive energy.
Good one. What about the opposite? Missing an opportunity.
For that, you might say you missed the boat.
Missed the boat.
Meaning, to miss an opportunity or fail to take advantage of something beneficial that was available and now it's too late. Example, I really missed the boat on that stock investment when prices were low. Now they're soaring and I really regret not buying.
Painful.
Can be. But the idiom itself, it's common for expressing regret over a lost chance without sounding overly dramatic or self-pitying. It's a universally relatable experience, that missed opportunity, clearly understood from its literal meaning of failing to catch a departing ship.
Makes sense. Okay, what about when success seems guaranteed?
Then you might say it's in the bag.
In the bag.
Meaning certain to succeed, a victory or outcome that is assured and practically guaranteed, almost a done deal.
Right.
Example, don't worry, the contract is definitely in the bag. We just need the final signatures to make it official, and then we can celebrate.
Conveys confidence.
Strong confidence, yes. In achieving work or personal goals. It's often used when success seems imminent, maybe in the final stages of a negotiation or project. Suggests the outcome is already secured, like game secured in a hunter's bag, possibly.
Interesting origin. And finally, for success and failure, you might hear strike gold.
Right, meaning to find great success or something highly valuable, often unexpectedly. We struck gold with that new marketing strategy. It's incredibly effective.
Or the opposite, go down in flames.
Meaning to fail spectacularly or disastrously. Their initial product launch went down in flames, unfortunately, but they learned a lot from it.
Yeah. These phrases really bring the narrative of outcomes to life, adding color to success and failure stories.
They really do. They make it much more vivid.
Okay, so we have this incredible collection of idioms now, categorized and everything, but language is dynamic, isn't it? And English is spoken all over the globe. Are there regional variations we should be aware of? And how do they impact our choice of idioms, especially for an advanced learner trying to sound genuinely native, or at least, aware?
Absolutely. That's a crucial point. English idioms vary significantly by region, sometimes surprisingly so. And understanding these differences can prevent confusion or even enhance your connection with specific audiences. It's like understanding local slang or customs. It shows that deeper grasp of the culture and its specific linguistic fingerprint.
Okay, so can you give us some examples? Maybe American versus British versus Australian?
Sure. Let's take American idioms. These often draw from things like sports, business, or maybe pop culture. Gives them a often bold, direct, sometimes quite practical flavor. For instance,
Okay.
Monday morning quarterback. Heard this one?
I think so. Criticizing after the fact.
Exactly. Someone who criticizes an event after it has happened, offering advice when it's way too late to change anything, often use slightly derisively towards someone who's an expert only in hindsight.
Got it.
Or jump on the bandwagon. This means to join a popular activity or trend just because it has become fashionable. Often implies a less original or maybe slightly opportunistic motive.
Right.
These tend to be fairly straightforward and usually easily grasped by most Native American English speakers.
Yeah. What about British idioms?
British idioms can sometimes sound a bit more maybe quaint or witty, often rooted in older traditions or common life. Examples might include chuffed to bits. This means simply to be very pleased or delighted about something, often with a kind of quiet sense of satisfaction. You might hear, oh, I was chuffed to bits with the result.
Okay, nice one.
Or knackered, very common. A straightforward way to say you are extremely exhausted or tired, completely worn out. I'm absolutely knackered after that long week.
Right.
These idioms contribute to that distinct flavor of British English and are often quite charming to non-British ears.
And Australian idioms, I hear they can be quite unique.
Oh, they certainly can be. Aussie idioms are typically playful, colorful, very unique, often reflecting the country's outdoor culture and a distinct sense of humor. Consider
Okay.
fair dinkum. This means genuine, true, or authentic. You might hear someone ask, is that story fair dinkum? Meaning, is it really true?
Huh, I like that.
Or this one, flat out, like a lizard drinking.
Wow, what does that mean?
It's a wonderfully vivid phrase, meaning to be extremely busy or working very, very hard. It likens the effort to a lizard apparently flattening itself to drink from a shallow puddle.
Incredible image.
Isn't it? These add such a distinctive character to Australian speech.
It's really fascinating how culture influences language, even at this granular level. So thinking practically, if you're speaking with a diverse international group, maybe in a global business meeting, what's the best approach? How do you avoid missteps and ensure clarity?
Yeah, that's a common scenario. For global English conversations, where your audience might be from various English-speaking backgrounds, or maybe they learned English as a second language from different places, it's generally safest to stick to more universal idioms.
Okay.
Phrases like bite the bullet or on the same page, get the ball rolling, these are widely understood across most of the Anglophone world.
Right.
If you're unsure about a regional idiom, or maybe you notice a confused look on someone's face, it's always smart to clarify. Just a quick, does that make sense here? Or, do you know that expression? This shows humility, cultural sensitivity, and it keeps the conversation flowing smoothly by addressing potential misunderstandings head on. It's really about ensuring clarity over, showcasing obscure regional phrases.
Good advice. Focus on communication. Now, beyond regional variations, what are some key strategies for truly using idioms like a native speaker? It's clearly more than just memorizing a list, isn't it? Feels like there's an art to it, maybe a social intelligence piece involved.
It definitely goes well beyond rote learning.
Oh, yes.
It's about finesse, natural integration, making idioms feel like an organic part of your expression, not something bolted on. Here are some advanced strategies. Number 1, master context with precision. Idioms are so context dependent. We mentioned kick the bucket, humorous for a broken car, utterly inappropriate for a person, especially in a serious setting.
Right, big difference.
Huge. So before using an idiom, always ask yourself, does it fit the tone? Formal or informal? Is it suitable for this audience? Is it too casual? Too formal? When in doubt, maybe test it out in lower stakes settings first, with close friends, language exchange, before using it in a high stakes meeting.
Good safety tip.
Number 2, don't overload the seasoning principle. While idioms are great, too many in one conversation can make you sound forced, unnatural, like you're reading from a phrase book.
Yeah, trying too hard.
Exactly. That trying too hard effect undermines fluency. The goal is natural fluency, not performance. Aim for maybe 1 or 2 idioms per conversation or sparingly within a longer dialogue.
Okay.
For instance, I was under the weather, so I bit the bullet and canceled my plans. That flows naturally, adding, and then I went back to the drawing board to rethink my weekend right after. Might feel less organic, a bit forced. Think of idioms like seasoning and cooking just enough to enhance the flavor, not overwhelm the dish.
I like that analogy. Seasoning, not the main course.
Precisely. Number 3, nail pronunciation and cadence, the musicality of idioms. Idioms often have a distinct rhythm, stress, intonation that contributes to their natural feel. Like in Spill the Beans, the stress is usually on beans. Pay close attention to native speakers' podcasts, TV shows like The Office or Parks and Rec. Online videos catch the correct cadence, the emphasis,
Right.
and practice saying them aloud until they roll off your tongue, feel natural, not just like a series of separate words. This attention to the musicality of the phrase significantly adds to the authenticity.
So it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Absolutely. Number 4, learn origins. Optional, but insightful. Knowing an idiom's backstory, like raining cats and dogs, possibly coming from 17th century storms washing animals into the streets, that can significantly help you remember its meaning and appreciate its cultural depth. Makes the idiom a little story in itself. However, don't feel you have to learn every origin for every idiom. Prioritize understanding the meaning and correct usage first. The origin is often a bonus that solidifies memory and adds to your linguistic appreciation.
Okay, good balance.
And finally, number 5, test and adjust. Embrace the feedback loop. Actively try out idioms in safe spaces, language exchange apps, language partners, understanding friends. If someone looks confused or doesn't understand, don't be discouraged. Laugh it off, explain. Oh, spill the beans. That just means to tell a secret. This is such a valuable way to learn through immediate feedback. And it can even build rapport, sharing that little moment of learning.
Yeah.
It's through these gentle trials, these adjustments, that true mastery is forged. You learn to fine-tune your usage. #tag avoiding pitfalls and practical mastery.
Okay, so even experienced speakers can sometimes stumble with idioms, right? Maybe mix them up or use them in the wrong context. What are some of those common pitfalls to watch out for? And how can we actively avoid them to make sure our idiom usage is always effective and, natural?
That's very true. Even native speakers make mistakes,
Yeah.
and idioms are particularly tricky because they defy that literal interpretation. Here's how to dodge the most common traps and navigate them with, greater certainty. First big one, mixing idioms. A frequent and often quite amusing gaffe is combining parts of different idioms, creates a nonsensical new phrase.
Like what?
We'll like saying spill the bucket instead of spill the beans, or maybe we'll burn that bridge when we get to it instead of cross that bridge.
Ah, I see.
It happens when the brain tries to blend familiar patterns, maybe due to tiredness or just overthinking. Always, always double check the exact phrasing. If you're unsure, a quick online search or checking a good idiom dictionary can save you from an awkward moment. Precision really matters here.
Good point. Check the exact wording. What else?
Second, wrong context. Using an idiom inappropriately. We mentioned kick the bucket at a solemn event, highly jarring, offensive, or just baffling. The emotional tone and the formality of the situation are paramount. Always match the idiom to the mood, the formality, the specific circumstances. If it's a formal business meeting, a very casual idiom might make you seem unprofessional, maybe even flippant. Context is king.
Context is king. Got it.
Third, overuse. We touched on this, but it bears repeating. Peppering your speech with too many idioms makes it sound unnatural, performative, rather than authentically fluent. It can give the impression you're trying too hard to show off your knowledge rather than just communicating organically. Use them sparingly for maximum impact. Let them stand out and enhance your message, rather than becoming distracting background noise. Quality over quantity.
Right. Less is more, sometimes.
Often, yes. And fourth, misunderstanding. Be aware that some idioms have a deceptive literal meaning that can cause real confusion if you don't grasp the figurative sense.
Like break a leg.
Exactly. If someone tells you to break a leg before a presentation, they mean good luck, not, actual physical harm. Taking it literally would be a significant misunderstanding.
Yeah.
When in doubt about an idiom's meaning, especially if it sounds odd or doesn't seem to fit the context, don't hesitate. Ask for clarification. What do you mean by that expression? Or look it up quickly. It's always better to clarify than to misuse. And often, asking for clarification can even become a charming part of the interaction. Shows you're engaged in learning.
So it's about precision, moderation, and just really thinking about what you're saying and how it will land.
Yeah.
Now, how can our listeners actively practice and truly internalize these idioms? Make them second nature, rather than just something they've memorized from a list.
Practice is absolutely key, you're right. And it needs to be an active, hands-on process. Here are some engaging activities to make idioms stick and become a natural part of your communication. Moving beyond just recognizing them to actually producing them confidently. 1, idiom journal with active recall. Dedicate a specific notebook or maybe a digital document just for idioms. Each day, aim to write down maybe 3 to 5 new idioms you've encountered or want to learn. For each one, note its meaning. Find a clear example sentence from a reliable source. And then, this is the important part, create your own unique sample sentence, something that reflects your context, your life.
Make it personal.
Exactly. Then make a conscious effort to use these idioms in your conversations throughout the day or week. Notice how they land. Note any feedback or confusion. This active recall and application process is highly effective because it makes the idiom personally relevant.
Good idea.
What else? 2, media immersion with active listening. This is fantastic for learning idioms in their natural habitat. Watch popular TV shows known for natural conversational dialogue. Friends, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, maybe even news commentaries or interviews. When you hear an idiom, pause the show. Try to guess its meaning from the surrounding context first. Then, verify it with a quick search. Pay particular attention to how the idiom is used, the speaker's tone, the specific situation. This trains your ear and helps you understand nuance beyond just dictionary definitions.
Yeah, context again.
Always context. 3, flashcards for spaced repetition. Use digital flashcard apps, Anki, Quizlet, there are many. Create sets of idioms. On one side, the idiom, on the other, its meaning and an example sentence.
Okay.
For advanced practice, maybe add an image or a mini scenario. Quiz yourself regularly daily for new ones, weekly for review to reinforce memory through spaced repetition. Those visual and contextual cues can significantly boost retention.
Spaced repetition works. Good tip.
4, role play and conversation practice. This is where theory meets practice. Practice with a friend, a language exchange partner, a tutor. For example, conduct a mock job interview, specifically aiming to incorporate professional idioms like go the extra mile or think outside the box into your answers. Or simulate a casual chat where you naturally try to interject everyday idioms. The act of producing them in a simulated conversation really helps cement them in your active vocabulary and builds your confidence.
Takes away the fear of using them live first time.
Exactly. And finally, 5, story challenge. This is a creative exercise that forces you to integrate idioms meaningfully. Write a short story, a descriptive paragraph, maybe even a diary entry, integrating at least, say, 5 to 10 different idioms naturally.
Okay.
The challenge isn't just to list them, but to weave them into a coherent narrative where they feel organic and actually contribute to the story's flow and meaning. Share it on a language learning forum with your language partner or an English-speaking friend for feedback on naturalness and accuracy. This pushes you beyond simple sentence construction to genuine integration.
That sounds like a really good way to solidify understanding. Great practical tips there. #tag idioms in action and advanced usage.
Okay, so let's see how these idioms actually come to life in typical everyday conversations. These real-world scenarios should give you a better feel for their natural flow and how they subtly enhance communication, making interactions feel, well, more authentic.
Yeah, real-world examples are always so helpful. They bring the theory to vivid life and showcase the true utility of these phrases, how they actually sound.
They absolutely show the true power and sometimes the elegance of idioms. Let's try scenario 1, casual coffee chat.
Okay.
You might say, "Hey, how's life? Come on, spill the beans. What's new with you? Anything exciting happening since we last spoke?" Your friend replies, "Oh, I'm over the moon. I just got a new job offer in my dream company, the one I've been eyeing for years."
Great news.
And you respond, "That's amazing. Wow, you're really on a roll lately, aren't you? Everything seems to be going your way. You totally deserve it."
Nice exchange. Feels very natural.
Right. The analysis here, this dialogue uses casual, playful idioms like spill the beans and over the moon. They maintain that light, friendly, engaging atmosphere. On a roll adds a touch of genuine excitement and acknowledgement of their friend's good fortune. Notice how these idioms act as conversational lubricants, making the exchange flow more naturally than simply saying, "Tell me your secret, I'm very happy, and you're having good luck."
Yeah, much more engaging. Okay, scenario 2, work meeting.
All right. You, perhaps leading the meeting, might say, "All right, team, let's get the ball rolling on this new initiative. Any initial ideas or thoughts to kick us off strategically?" Proactive. A colleague responds, "Well, I suggest we really try to think outside the box this time and explore a completely different approach to marketing this product, maybe something unconventional."
Okay.
And you reply, "Excellent suggestion. As we develop this, let's make sure to keep everyone in the loop on all significant updates and decisions as we move forward with the planning."
Very professional, efficient.
Exactly. The analysis here. Professional idioms like get the ball rolling, think outside the box, and keep everyone in the loop. Make the dialogue collaborative, proactive, and efficient without sounding stiff or overly formal.
Right.
They signal that shared understanding of professional conduct and goal-oriented discussion allows for concise communication of complex ideas, which is vital in a business environment.
Definitely sounds like a productive meeting. Okay, last one, scenario 3, resolving a fight.
Okay, maybe a bit tense. You might initiate. Look, I feel like we're kind of beating around the bush here, and it's not really helping. What's truly bothering you about this situation between us?
Direct, but using the idiom softens it slightly.
Perhaps. It signals you want to get to the real issue. Your friend might reply, "You're right, I've been avoiding it, let's clear the air. I was upset about how you handled that last argument, I felt a bit dismissed."
Okay, honest response.
And you could conclude, "Okay, I understand now, and I appreciate you bringing it up directly. Let's bury the hatchet and genuinely start fresh from here. I really value our friendship too much for lingering tension."
Good resolution.
Hopefully. The analysis. Conflict-related idioms here, like beating around the bush, clear the air, and bury the hatchet, help to de-escalate tension and clarify issues while maintaining respect. They provide a structured, well-understood way to address difficult conversations, leading towards resolution rather than prolonged animosity. Shows a certain maturity in handling conflict.
These examples really demonstrate how seamlessly idioms can integrate into conversation, enriching the meaning and making it sound so much more natural. Now, for those listeners who are already pretty comfortable with a good range of idioms, how can they take their usage to the next level? Are there ways to be even more strategic or, creative with them?
Oh, absolutely. Once you're confident with the basics, using idioms accurately and appropriately, you can indeed start to elevate your usage. Make your application truly stand out, make you a more memorable communicator. Consider these advanced strategies. 1, blend idioms with humor. Pairing an idiom with a witty, ironic, or maybe self-deprecating tone can add a playful spin, shows your advanced command of the language and even your personality.
How so?
For example, saying something like, "Well, I'm in a bit of a pickle with this deadline, but I guess I'll just bite the bullet and sort it out over the weekend," fueled by coffee and sheer willpower.
Yeah, that adds a lighthearted touch.
Right. It adds that humorous touch to a challenging situation, showing you're not completely overwhelmed. Demonstrates a sophisticated grasp of both language and maybe comedic timing. 2, adapt to your audience with nuance. Be incredibly mindful of who you're speaking with. We talked about regional differences, but also think about age, context. With younger crowds, newer or trendy idioms, often from pop culture or social media, like ghost someone for ignoring them, or maybe flex for showing off, might be understood and even appreciated.
Right.
With older or more formal audiences, sticking to more classic, universally recognized idioms like burn the midnight oil or on the same page is generally safer, more appropriate. This shows not just knowledge of idioms, but that crucial audience awareness and social intelligence, a hallmark of true communication mastery.
Tailoring your language, very important.
3, create your own variations with extreme caution. Now, this is high-level stuff. Once you achieve a very high level of fluency, a deep, intuitive understanding of idiom structure and meaning, you can playfully tweak idioms for greater effect or a unique spin. Vary. Instead of just raining cats and dogs, you might, in a very informal setting, say raining buckets, or maybe the British raining stair rods to showcase your creativity and linguistic agility.
Okay.
But honestly, this is a high-level technique. Only do this with close friends or in very informal settings where you're sure your audience will get the nuance and humor, rather than just being confused. Missteps here can lead to awkwardness or misunderstanding very easily. Proceed with caution.
Duly noted. Tread carefully there.
And 4, use idioms in writing, beyond speech. Don't limit idioms just to spoken English. Sprinkle them into informal emails, internal team reports, personal essays, social media posts. Inject personality, energy, a more natural cadence into your written communication. A subject line like, "Let's hit the ground running this week," in a work email can set an energetic, proactive tone. Makes your written words more engaging, less dry. They can also subtly reinforce your tone without you having to explicitly state, "I am feeling energetic."
That's a powerful point about audience adaptation and creative variations, really showing off a mastery. Now, what about cultural sensitivity again? When using idioms, especially with a global audience, that seems like a really important consideration given how varied English is around the world.
This is absolutely crucial, yes. And it's where advanced proficiency truly shines, knowing not just what to say, but what not to say, or how it might be perceived differently. Idioms can indeed be tricky in multicultural settings. Their origins or literal interpretations might unintentionally offend or simply not translate well.
Right.
We mentioned kick the bucket, potentially offensive if misunderstood around the topic of death. Others may be tied to specific religious practices, food traditions, obscure historical events. They may not resonate or could even be considered insensitive in certain cultures.
So what's the key principle for global communication?
Empathy and clarity, I'd say, specifically. Prioritize neutral and universal idioms. Stick to those idioms that are widely understood across different English-speaking regions and cultures. Things like bite the bullet on the same page, think outside the box. They tend to have more transparent meanings or broader applicability. Safer bets.
Okay.
Always watch for reactions. Pay close attention to your listeners' facial expressions, their body language. If someone looks confused or if the conversation suddenly feels awkward, kindly explain the idiom with a smile. Oh, that's an idiom. It just means. This demonstrates awareness, willingness to ensure clarity, turns a potential misstep into a learning opportunity, builds rapport.
Good recovery strategy.
Avoid sensitive topics. Unless you are very familiar with your specific audience and their cultural norms, it's best to avoid idioms connected to sensitive topics: death, religion, politics, specific cultural practices. When in doubt, err on the side of caution. Choose more literal or universally understood phrasing. Your aim is effective, respectful communication, not inadvertently causing offense.
Excellent advice. Prioritize clarity and respect, especially in diverse settings. #TagShave outro. Wow, what a journey through the vibrant, sometimes tricky world of idioms. It's clear they're far more than just, fancy phrases. They seem to be truly the heart and soul of natural, engaging English.
Yeah.
Opening up new dimensions of expression and connection.
Absolutely. By embracing and mastering expressions like spill beans, hit the nail on the head, or go the extra mile, you're not just expanding your vocabulary list, you're building deeper connections, you're boosting your confidence, and you're truly transforming your conversations into this vibrant, memorable tapestry. It's about becoming a more engaging, more nuanced communicator.
Yeah.
Someone capable of navigating any social or professional landscape with, more ease and authenticity.
This deep dive has hopefully given you, our listeners, the tools and the confidence to embark on your own idiom adventure. So what's your next step? Maybe pick out just a few idioms from our conversation today, try them out in your next chat, maybe a low-stakes one first, and just observe how they resonate.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect, right? And every attempt is a step forward in your mastery of English.
And remember, please, the journey to fluency is about continuous exploration and hopefully joyful discovery. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every slip-up, every awkward moment is simply another step towards greater mastery and more natural expression. We're all ears for your idiom adventures, actually, and any funny stories you might have about using them. Now, go out there, break a leg, and let your conversations truly shine.
Great final thought.
Hope.
And if you found this deep dive helpful, please do like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more insights into mastering English.
Thanks for tuning in.